Uh, Good evening. It's Saturday night. I've been out again shopping and getting whiskey and stuff. This one I've had a few weeks. It's something that I have not tried in a long time. Back around 1993, 94, just shortly after I first moved to British Columbia, I heard, well, I had tried some single malts, Glenlivet, Glenfiddich, but then I heard that there is a Canadian single malt, and that was the only Canadian single malt at the time. Things sure have changed where we've got four or five right here on Vancouver Island. But back in the day, there was only one, and I even bought a bottle, and my dad and I think, uncorked it together back in 93 or 94. And I think it was 93. And in 94, he came here to visit, and he brought back a sample bottle that was about this big that had the remains of it in there. I'm talking about the Glen Breton. That was a Glen Breton from more than 20 years ago, 22 years ago. And it wasn't that old. It was maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old before it was bottled. But I have here, I wanted to try Glen Breton again, but there's so many whiskeys and so little time and so little money. But finally, when I got around to the Strathcona Hotel and wanted to buy a bottle of Glen Breton, I figured about $80, $90. They didn't have that anymore. They had this one here. This is a, you see that 14 there? It's a 14-year-old Glen Breton. I had the younger one so many years ago. Oh, look at this. It has one of these hinged, whoop, like this. Look at that. That is some presentation. It has here a Glenora Inn and Distillery, North America's first single malt whiskey distillery. So there's like a pamphlet here, and it describes the whole thing. Well, this is cool. And this was kind of shoved in there. So that's a lot of reading, and it even shows where the distillery is, right there on the island of, on Cape Breton Island. And back in, what year was it? 1998. Me and my folks did a road trip all the way around this island. Called the Cabot Trail. This is from the Glenora Distillery. See, the booklet has a whole bunch of stuff in there. I have to study this someday. Anyway, that's interesting that they keep that in there. And then you've got this whole presentation. So this is like a gift box, You give this to someone as a gift. Well, let's see what else is here. Well, there's the bottle, comes right out, and there it is, the bottle of 14-year-old Glen Breton, North America's first single malt whiskey. That's going to be fun. So what else is in here? Oh, there's some writing on the back there, and it's in silver or gold. No contrast, hard to read. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the world is new. A toast to Glen Breton. Okay. So the world is now out for all to see. The word, okay. A single malt from this side of the sea, a lowland taste, or a highland smile, or the tang of the sea, like a malt from the isle. Okay. These secrets reside in the walls of the cask, and those bouquets and flowers are impossible to read. With us at last, 10 years in a complex of oak and smoke. Now we reach for a glass, for the cask has awoke. And we'll toast with Glen Breton with more than a dram, for the dream of Glenora has captured the land. Okay. From the shores of Glen Breton to our mountainous west, our friends now toast with their very own best to Glen Breton Rare. 20th of September 2016. That's when this was bottled. Oh, there's more writing on here, and it's really small. I'm going to have to grab my other glasses. Just a moment. Okay. I have here my other glasses so I can read the small writing on the back here. Glenora's specially handcrafted collection. Cape Breton is one of only a few places on earth outside of Scotland where the Gaelic culture and language lives and thrives. In the early 1800s, Scottish immigrants chose Cape Breton Island for their new home, as its beauty so resembled the highlands and islands of Scotland. Many traditions and secrets came with these pioneers. The making of a spirited whiskey was one of them. Our Scottish descendants passionately keep the dearest aspects of their colorful culture alive. This is especially evident in Inverness County, Nova Scotia, which is home to Glenora Distillery, single malt whiskey distillery. Okay. The crystal clear water from McClellan's Brook flows from the Mabo Highlands, located above the Glenora Distillery, giving Glen Breton its classic and pure taste. Glen Breton is distilled with the wisdom and legacy of deeply rooted Scottish traditions, but with a unique character all its own. To your excellent health, a very bonny slancha. Okay. All right. So now that we've got all this fancy stuff out of the way, it even says here Gold Medal 2011, Distillery of the Year 2011, Triple Gold 2015, 43% alcohol by volume, 750 mils, 14 years old. Okay, well, here's the bottle. Glen Breton, single malt, rare. What does it say on here? Okay, I think this says the same thing as what it says. Yes, the same thing as what it says on the box. Okay, well, it's got one of these plastic things around here. I gotta get my other glasses on. This way I can see what I'm doing. Okay, it's got one of these plastic things stuck around the cork. And is there a place that you can peel it off? I think I found it. Yes. I believe I have found the place where you peel the plastic thing off. Okay. I hope this is worth it, because it was not cheap. I have here the bill. It says, product, Glen Breton, 14 years old, 750 mils, $128.90. One deposit, 10 cents. So that's the deposit for the bottle. Subtotal, $112.19. Huh. Oh, that was the total. Okay. $112.19. GST, that's the goods and services tax, $5.60. Liquor tax, 10%, $11.21. Total, $129. $129 right here. And the fancy packaging right here. So this is meant to be like a gift, you know. It doesn't look quite so impressive without the bottle. You know, I could do without this, but it will it will go on the wall back there, you know. It'll be all right. So now, let's just pop. There we are. Ah. Ah. Okay. Let's pour us a dram of this. 14-year-old Canadian single malt. $130. Hope it's worth it. Ah. Let's see, what am I getting here? Let's cleanse the palate. I've already finished off the bottle of this one here. This is the Bastille 1789. I had some Hiram Walker Special Old, and I also had some Centennial from Highwood Distilleries. So this is my fourth dram. I'm not feeling any of the others because I strung them out over quite some time, and they were all 40% alcohol by volume. A little on a weak side. Okay, what am I getting here? You know, the last time I had a Glen Breton, like I say, was over 20 years ago. Maybe 23 years ago. And this is like coming home to that. I remember something. It's very nutty. It's nutty, like cashews and walnuts. I'm getting a lot of nutty aromas. There's a bit of along with the nuts, acorns. I'm getting acorns and cashews and walnuts. A little bit of a fruity note, like pears, and a little bit of apricots. I'm digging here. Cotton candy. Cotton candy and maybe a bit of burnt sugar. That is quite a unique nose. It's different from anything. Along with that burnt cotton candy, there's some brown sugar. Or that golden sugar. You know the one I mean? Not icing sugar, not exactly brown sugar, but there's a golden sugar as well. A bit of vanilla now that I'm coming down to it. But that burnt sugar is a lot stronger than the vanilla. Bit of peanuts, like peanut oil. And I'm getting something else. I think I've said just about everything there is in there. A little bit of caramel. A little bit of caramel coming through. That's about as deep as I can go on the nose. Let's taste it. More of that nuttiness. The walnuts. I'm getting some oak. Oak and walnuts. It's kind of dry. The mouthfeel is kind of alkaline, a little bit slippery. Nuts, cashews, peanuts. Let me cleanse the palate. Try that again. I'm getting dead leaves, leaves that have fallen on the ground in fall. Maple leaves, dead maple leaves in fall, lying on the ground in a forest, a wet forest, just after the rain. Oak. A little bit of maltiness. Now that I've had a taste, the brown sugar note isn't quite as strong as it was before. It's a little bit of cotton candy still. But mostly I'm getting dead leaves. Let's taste it again. There's that alkaline mouthfeel again. Nuttiness. I'm getting a bit of butter and nuttiness and oak. A little bit of bitterness as well in the aftertaste. And that slight bitterness in the aftertaste seems to linger on. It's nutty, not so much fruity, and a little bit malty. It's definitely complex, but it's a very different complexity from the single malt that you'll get from Scotland. From any single malt in Scotland. This tastes nothing like. There's no smoke to speak of. There's nuttiness. There's dry leaves. There's dead leaves. Now way at the end of the aftertaste, there's a hint of mint. A hint of mint like I'd get from an American rye. But this is a Canadian single malt. There is no rye in this. Interesting. Makes me wonder what kind of barrels they used. Did they use X-rye barrels to mature this? And that's where I'm picking up that tiny little hint of mint at the very end? I don't know. Very interesting. This will also be interesting as the bottle gets closer to the bottom. Like, don't get me wrong, it's interesting at first, it's just a little weird because it's different from any other kind of whiskey I've ever had. And it's different. It's different from the ones here on the West Coast. Because I've had 2 or 3. I've had Shelter Point. I've had Craig Derrick. I've had a couple of ones from Colorado, like Stranahan's. It's different from all of those. It's distinct. And I'm curious to go on a journey of this bottle from the top to bottom. Ah, that nutty cashew peanut oil aroma on the nose. It's different. I'm gonna say it's enjoyable so far. I'm just curious to see how it goes. I'm repeating myself, yes? Okay, I've probably gone on too long. Well, on that note, I'm going to drink to your good health and slancha.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Yeah.